The third Sims game, which is my personal favorite, has been critiqued for not having enough Sims on lots in the open world. Yet at the same time, Sims 4 is critiqued for having a closed world and also the world's feeling still empty. Whatever simulation game we're talking about, open or closed world, the world, editing tools, and of course autonomy are never going to be perfect, yet they are critical to the game overall. So today we are setting realistic expectations based upon what we know for what we can expect for Paralyze during early access. Now we do know at launch Paralyze will have a small Canadian-based town, and while there will be eventually a town/world creator tool, that will not come until later. And it will be an open world environment, but with a caveat because there will be rabbit holes for both schools and jobs. I do plan to talk about my personal opinions on schools and jobs being rabbit holes in a future video, but for now I want to set the expectations because remember, this is early access and I just want people to be prepared. First off, let's talk about career and job choices. The good news here is there are going to be quite a bit for early access. We're currently working on the list, so the numbers are going to vary in the upcoming weeks and months when we add or tweak careers after playtests. But for now, we have roughly 100 jobs in town. However, a lot of these jobs relate to the same careers but in different companies with different perks. There are 11 different domains to choose a career from. Honestly, this goes above my personal expectations, but again, remember there are of course going to be some limitations when we first get this game. One of those limitations is that work from home careers are not planned for early access launch. You might be able to sell paintings or other items you created, and some jobs might give you tasks to do after you come back home, which honestly I think that is a really nice detail, just being able to have ways to interact with the jobs even if they are rabbit holes. For example, in the third Sims game, I really like just the pop-up opportunities. So overall, I personally don't have an opinion about this. I do think that home jobs should be added at some point, but early access launch I don't know is really necessary. In the same line, there will not be a criminal career or anything like that at launch. However, they're not rolling it out for an update after early access. So all in all, careers are going to be mostly rabbit holes. However, there could be some interactions outside of when you go to work, and at least it sounds like there's a decent variety for now. In the same vein, schools also are not active. However, they are considering how they might impact Para's future, and this is a question about if they will impact their adult career. I might tell you more about this soon, what we've decided, but hopefully soon. The idea is you could transfer your grades or your experience from high school into bonuses to apply for your first jobs. And remember, right now they don't have anything worked out for college or university, so that would just be a nice little perk and make high school feel a little bit more consequential. Now we also need to talk about lot size and customization. Certainly we have seen some videos where you can edit the lots, and it looks like it's going to be a somewhat flexible system. However, again, we're talking about early access launch, and not all the features you might expect are going to be included right away. When asked about uploading and downloading from the Steam Workshop, which is going to serve as their gallery of sorts, someone asked if there would be a way to save and upload items with custom sizes. However, at the moment, it is possible to do things by exporting your whole house. They don't have specific tools to save items or rooms. And maybe someday, but that is just not in the cards right now. Someone also asked about curved lot edges. Lots is an interesting concept, and I'd love to see it eventually, but again, something I don't think is personally necessary for early access launch. But the answer is that curved lots currently do not work properly, and when the World Edition tools are available, we will allow people to create custom lots and edit theirs, and we'll have to fix that. Now again, this might not be the answer people want, but I do appreciate the honesty and transparency. Again, I'm really excited about the World editing tools, so I just want them to get them right, and I think it could add so much life to a game to be able to create your own worlds and towns and customize them. That's something I love about the third Sims game, and of course to an extent the second Sims game you do have some editing tools too. I just think personally that adds a lot to a simulation game, and you can download some pretty interesting things from the community as a whole. Now, all that said, while I think so far that is reasonable planning for early access launch, how lively is the town actually going to feel? There are, of course, lingering questions about NPCs and town autonomy. We do know that story progression is planned, but not upon early access launch. Now, the question though is, again, how is it going to actually feel when you get into the game? Now, honestly, I can't give the answer to this until I actually get to playtest this game, which I cannot wait for. However, I do have some more information that might be helpful. The next question is, how does the game handle crowds in some place in the town? Alex says we still have work to do on townie autonomy and how they act around the town and gather in public places. Our goal is to have NPC characters decide to visit certain public lots based upon their schedules and different conditions. Now, honestly, this sounds great to me because I feel like in Sims 4 it's pretty much just random and you end up seeing Vlad and Belagov everywhere. He continues, on a given lot, some NPCs could decide to gather around a musician playing there, for instance. There could also be a cafe where they gather to talk. Characters interacting together will be positioned using Richard's social cluster system that they have talked about in previous Patreon posts. And I think that would be good for me to explore because I don't know if I covered that, but all in all, the general concepts sound pretty good. Now, as a reminder, I am covering dev chats and often they are posted to the public sometime later. Just know they are ahead of what they are answering in this chat. The next question is a little bit vague, but I think it gets to people just wanting to know how this game is going to play out. Do you have any plans to add anything silly or unrealistic to the game? And Jeremy answers, I'm not sure what you mean by motivate to happen in real life. Many things in games are silly and unrealistic by their very nature. The fast lives our characters go through makes realism difficult to achieve. More seriously, if you mean goofy items or unexpected situations, we'll try to have those peppered in game. Now, my sense is every game that is coming out has a different tone. I would say sometimes Sims 4 is over the top, kind of slapstick, although I honestly like Sims 2 humor the best. But as far as Paralyze, I get the vibes that there is going to be a little bit of silliness, more so than InZOI, which I think is aiming for realism more and whimsy. But again, I don't really have a good sense of the humor in this game until I see more. And of course, another part of a town or world going interactive is what happens all around it. Again, we don't have very good details about this, but we do know there will be at least some things happening. We are planning on various events that can happen to your lots and around town. Things like power outages, fires, floods, and more. For now, fires are confirmed for the release and more events could come later. I see how the third Sims game suggests a challenge through a pop-up. Eventually, we could do something similar or test other ways to do it. And ultimately speaking, it's always a challenge to listen to feedback from fans, getting inspiration from other games, but still making it feel unique. All in all, that is very complex. And I would say, as we're seeing now with even InZOI, Paralyze Early Access simply will not shop out with all features. And that is okay. I do think that a strong foundation is very important, but especially considering they're also an indie team and not a big game like Crafton, I think it is fair to note that it is not going to be perfect. And of course, I do think constructive critique is good and valid, recognizing it is early access, but we still want the game to improve. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I love hearing your thoughts, and as always, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.